Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I have some updates for you, and the good news is I only have good news. We're gonna take a look at some orchids or orchid projects that we started fairly recently, things such as the Rupiculus Laelias, my very sick, rootless and dehydrated Phalaenopsis, some seedlings, and so on. So, spoiler, everybody is doing great, so that's good, but I still want to show you the evolution and just share with you my thoughts on the whole situation. So let's start with the Rupiculus Laelia. There is an entire series with these orchids which I will share with you down below. The gist of things is that I wanted to see if indeed they do better in a rock or mainly rock setup rather than a fully organic setup with bark and sphagnum moss. The idea was to see which ones bloom better, not which ones will make it and which ones will be lost. But it turned out that things did not go as planned, and I was in danger of actually losing these three orchids. These were the ones that I had in the rocky setup. And the last video on these orchids was me repotting them into bark and sphagnum moss. And well, 1 month later, let's see exactly how these orchids are doing. Okay, so being that these ones kind of have a little bit of a head start because they were repotted from the beginning in the organic medium, I won't focus too much on them, but as you can see, we have roots finally they're showing, and the orchids themselves look very nice. These were the three that kind of had a lot of root issues in the old medium. Well, let's see what's been going on. First, the Laelia rupestris. This is actually two pieces. These two pseudobulbs were actually detached when I purchased this orchid, and you cannot really see through the pot, but I can actually tell that this is a root growing. And considering that this orchid was almost rootless, I think that is a very good sign. This was one of the ones that really wasn't doing all that great, but as you can see, the orchid is not dehydrated. The new growths are developing so nice, and at least I have one root growing very nice. So this is Laelia lundi, and again this one was not looking great. Well, look at these new growths on the top. I think it's clear to see we have roots, and furthermore we do have roots inside the pot as well, and this one grew in the past month. Again, this was an orchid that didn't have too many roots, so I'm not expecting it to fill the pot or anything, but even the fact that I have one root visible is enough for me. And look at the orchid, it's not dehydrated at all, it looks beautiful, and that all happened within 1 month. And lastly, this grew so tall. Look at this new growth. Do you think I should hope for a bloom? I don't know. But this one, which is the Kautskiana, I think this is the orange one. We have roots. Look at this. This one had a few roots even in the rocky setup, but the root tips kept stopping. They were blackening. They really did not enjoy that setup. And look at this orchid now. No dehydration signs at all. The new growths are pretty tall. There is no setback at all on this orchid, which makes me so happy because it might actually bloom. How cute would that be? So for me, the Laelia chapter is absolutely closed. I might experiment with different setups or inorganic setups sometime in the future with established orchids. It was really important for me to do something about them because they did not have enough roots, they were not established. So I think they're all okay, all saved. And I see no sign that these guys don't like their medium, at least here in my environment. So we're gonna power on with this new setup, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're gonna have blooms soon. Now let's look at a more recent acquisition. This is the Laelias Mariposa. I repotted him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and not much has changed, but I do want to show it off because I want to show you that nothing bad happened to this orchid. There is no root inside the medium yet. It's only been 2 weeks. But as you can see, one root at the top is growing very well, and it will grow down into the medium. Also, if you remember, this orchid had a flower spike. Well, the flower spike keeps growing, it's absolutely fine, nothing bad happened to it. Now, depending what articles you will read, if they're older articles, you might find them saying that these guys hate repotting and they will stale and all sorts of bad things will happen if you repot them. but that is absolutely not true. And I'll link you down below to the repotting video. The key to any orchid repotting is to make sure that you're not damaging the root system all that much. Sometimes it's unavoidable, particularly in bark chips. If you have big chunky bark, when you try to remove it, you will probably damage the root system quite extensively. But this guy was potted in sphagnum moss, and if you're careful with sphagnum moss, you will not damage anything. So all I had to do was just be very careful with removing the sphagnum moss, and everything is absolutely fine. The orchid doesn't even feel that it has been repotted. Maybe it likes the medium a little better because it's a little bit more airy. And as I was saying in that video as well, with Cycopsis, many of the times there is no such thing as the greatest time to repot it, because they are most of the times in bloom, or at least with a flower spike, since they are sequential bloomers and each spike can last quite a few years. So when the flowers are done, when the spike is dry, that's not a good time to repot, because it just doesn't happen with this orchid, and sometimes you are forced to change the medium. And with these guys, the best thing to do is to go for a medium that will not damage the root system way too much when you remove it. I'm using small grade bark, which is absolutely fine when you remove it. If you want to use only sphagnum moss, that's even better. But if you're ever in a position with a Cycopsis that has a flower spike and a very, very bad medium, go ahead and repot it. Just be careful with the roots, because there really isn't a good time to repot these guys. They're also continuous growers. Next up, my Phalaenopsis orchid that lives in a bubble. This is a sort of humidity dome that I put together just to buy more time for this orchid to create roots. I've had it like this, rootless, for the past 4 or 5 months, can you believe it? And a month ago or so, I resorted to increasing humidity around its leaves in order to minimize transpiration and just buy it time. I'm not trying to promote roots. High humidity doesn't necessarily promote roots. The hormonal balance inside the orchid does that, but high humidity makes sure that if there is a root trying to form, it will continue to grow, it will not stop. And I'm going to show you a case with a different orchid. And in the video, we've also talked about springtails, because when you have a lot of humidity, you also could have some molds. So I'll link it down below. It's a really interesting video. I have an update on the springtails as well for you today. Only good stuff. But here is my little orchid today. Do we see something? Well, my camera doesn't see it. Do we see something developing here? Yes, it is a root tip, and look how well it's growing. It did not have enough strength to puncture through the leaf, but it's sprouting from in between the leaves. That is okay. Also, can you see I have no mold on the stem? Yeah, that's because I have springtails in there as well. So this orchid will continue to be dehydrated for quite a while until the roots start to absorb water, but this is a ray of hope. And I'm happy that I managed to buy it just a little bit more time, a month or a month and a half. This might have done the difference for this orchid. So until that root grows and starts to absorb water, she will be in the humidity dome. We're not out of the danger zone just yet. That root needs to grow, but I'm encouraged by the length of that tip, which is something I notice with many orchids in high humidity. The higher the humidity, the better those roots grow. Coupled with the fact that I don't have a mold explosion in here, everything is going just great, and I think I can save this orchid, although I was prepared to completely lose it. If you don't remember which one this is, it's Money Black crossed with Schilleriana. It's actually the Bronze Maiden, which I have, but this is a different one. This one, I think it's from Schwerter. Yeah, it looks like it's from Schwerter, and the other one that I have is from Orchids Deluxe. Speaking about the springtails, I'm happy to let you guys know that they're still alive. We're gonna take a look at them if they're out. And furthermore, I think they reproduced, because I think I see a lot more than I actually put in here. So first, a few things that I want to address, a few comments that you guys left me. A very good point was made by you guys regarding the charcoal I used. Apparently on the market, there are products which contain a chemical that helps it burn faster. It's called self-igniting or something of the sorts. I highly doubt mine contained those chemicals, because on the bag there was nothing said about that. Furthermore, they were making a big fuss about being bio, eco, something of the sorts, which, you know, marketing. but there was nothing saying that they burn faster or anything of the sorts, or that they have some sort of chemicals. But it's good to know that there are different types of charcoal on the market. And by the way, these are normal barbecue charcoals that I found downstairs. Second, about the rice. I do believe that if you pre-soak the rice, it will start to mold faster. Mine started to mold after 4 or 5 days. And I was a little concerned about that, but eventually it did mold. I still have the same rice that I placed then. They didn't consume it just yet. There is also springtail food on the market, I know, but I tried to limit my spendings and my trips out this past month. So I just did with whatever I had in the house, and the rice worked just well. So now let's just take a look. Hopefully they're out. Now, somebody said that these were not springtails because they don't jump. Oh, they jump. Trust me, they jump. These are smaller and I don't remember putting them here. And there are actually more than this, but it just seems to me that whenever I come and open the jar, they just go and hide away. But I think you can see a few of them in that area. So they're still here. I've seen more than these, so I'm hoping this means that they're multiplying. They're still alive, at least there's still food there, they're eating, so the experiment goes on. Next up, let's take a look at my Neofinish falcaras, or Neofineria falcara, or Vanda falcara, however you want to call it. I actually potted a few more, I have a few more to go, but to my delight and surprise, some of them are actually growing flower spikes. So this is the latest acquisition at the very beginning of March before the lockdown. I managed to get this one and it did not have a flower spike when I purchased it. Let me zoom you in. And when I picked it up to repot it, lo and behold, we have a flower spike here, which I think you can see. It is actually growing very fast, and do you see how dark colored it is? Which one is this? This is the Hanakanazashi. I think it's a pink one. So I'm super excited. Hopefully she will not give up the flower spike, but she's not the only one. Here we have another one. I do believe this actually arrived with the flower spikes, but I'm happy to say that they are growing, they're developing. I see 2 flower spikes on this one right here and one here. And you can see the flower spikes are light colored, so I do believe this is either a white, either a yellow variety. This is Kibana. Ooh, maybe this is the yellow one. I think it's the yellow one. So excited. And there is actually another one which arrived with flower spikes, this one, but they didn't seem to grow just yet. I hope she will not decide to give them up. This one I didn't repot just yet, but I think it's a good time to repot it before the flower spikes start to grow. Roots have started to grow, but it's okay if she decides not to bloom this year. This is a variegated one and she looks absolutely fantastic. And well, all of my Neofinishas have fared very well. I did not lose any of them. There was one with quite a few affected leaves by the transport. It was this one, and as you can see, she is looking very well. I'm so happy because this was one of my favorites, let's say. Do you see these little specks or discolorations on the leaves? They're normal. It's the whole appeal of this orchid, so that's why I purchased it. But it did lose a few leaves, as you can see at the base here. But she's okay. I need to repot this one as well. I don't see a flower spike. What are you? Kinkosei. Okay, so this is a different type of variegation that you can have on Neofinishas, and I'm happy this one is okay. But yeah, overall, everybody's doing great. I didn't have any losses, so thank goodness, because these guys are not the cheapest things. The cheapest ones can be 10 euros. The most expensive one that I have, I think, is 60 euros, which, you know, but they really are beautiful, and I do get to enjoy them even without blooms, which is fantastic. And PS, if you missed the video in which I mounded them, check it down below in the description. You'll find links to all of these things that we're going to talk about today. And lastly, let's take a look at the Vanda seedlings. If you remember, a few months ago I ordered, or rather I won an auction for some Vanda seedlings. I wanted to do a project with them, and well, that whole order was just a fiasco. But here are the Vandas that managed to make it. I'm hoping all of them will make it. There are a few which are still question mark, but many of them are looking great. So what I did was I placed them in my typical organic medium, the bark and sphagnum moss, and most of them have started to grow really lovely roots. As you can see, they're starting to get hydrated, and overall I cannot complain. Some are bigger than others, as you can see. Some grew a little bit faster. It depends how healthy they were when they arrived to me, but can you see that the roots are actually growing so well? So most of them are okay. I keep them in the greenhouse. I don't know if I'm gonna put them outside because I just want them to be a little bit more protected this year. Also outside, not sure how I will display them because these pots are very lightweight, kind of flimsy. If there's a wind, all of the medium will be out of the pot. So I think I'm gonna keep them in the greenhouse in the southern side of the greenhouse. But what I wanted to show you was that not all of them behaved the same. So let's take this one for example. I told you that I'm gonna show you what happens when roots don't actually have enough moisture. So I fixed this one, but what happened was it started to sprout two roots very high on top of the medium. And can you see that the orchid is dehydrated in comparison to the other ones? Something's off with this one. Well, the roots were way too high above the medium and they were not getting hydration. So I'm gonna uncover one of them just to show you the root tip. Do you see that the root tip completely stopped growing? That's because it did not have enough moisture. So what I did was I added more sphagnum moss and bark on top of the sphagnum moss, and this will keep more moisture around the root. Same story on this side. Let's not waste the medium. I had to cover this root because again, it just stopped growing right there. It was very high on top of the medium and it was just not getting hydrated. So the orchid dehydrated, even though it created new roots. So this exemplifies very well what I mean when I say that humidity promotes roots, it just doesn't spark them. Whenever an orchid becomes rootless, its hormonal balance changes and it will be prompted to create new roots. The problem comes when those new roots don't get optimal conditions, and humidity is one super important factor that we need to keep in mind. Because the orchid is already dehydrated, already out of energy. If those roots don't have optimum conditions to grow, then we're not actually solving anything for the orchid. So the high humidity situation will absolutely help, but it will not create miracles. It will not spark the root growth, it will just maintain it. And this is what can happen when humidity is just not enough. And that's about it for today. I'm always happy when I have good news to deliver, when projects go as planned, because the truth and reality of things is that sometimes bad things happen, sometimes projects don't go as planned, things can take a turn for the worse, and that's the orchid hobby. But most of the times it's okay. And because I know you're gonna ask about this one, and because I purposely am showing it off because I'm so happy, I'm such a proud mama. This is Phalaenopsis Zengmin Anaconda Yafon. I got it in one of my last orders at Orchids Deluxe a few months ago, and it came with a bud. The bud grew, developed, it escaped thrips, and look at it. I am in love. I'm over the moon with this orchid, and it wasn't even the 500 euro one. There is an orchid on Orchids Deluxe, which is an anaconda. It's Tina Anaconda, which costs 500 something euros with a discount. So I got the next best thing, the Zengmin Anaconda, which is only 20 something euros. But I think I did a good job because this one, I think looks better than the Tina Anaconda. Anyway. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for another update type of video very soon. Maybe this week we're gonna do an update on the Gemma setup because, things happened. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss that video. I do want to do another setup, let's say, with the Gemma bulbs, so it will take a little more. I don't know exactly when I'm going to post that video. But anyway, things are overall doing good with the grow lights. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!